Welcome to the talk show, Lighting the Educational Flame, with your host, Mark Hoberman. The goal of this show is to provide a learning experience to people of all ages, with guests from various fields and academics, a wide range of industries, and insight into the many forms of art, athletics, and entertainment. We hope you enjoy the show. Our guest today is MMA fighter Justine Kish. Justine talks about her career in the ring and how she achieved success in a male-dominated sport.
Hello and welcome to the talk show, Lighting the Educational Flame, brought to you by Great Success Education. I'm your host, Mark Hoberman. Today, our very special guest is MMA fighter Justine Kish. Justine, welcome to Lighting the Educational Flame.
Hey, Mark, thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat, and I appreciate this opportunity. So thanks again.
My pleasure. Justine, when I was young, 200 years ago, boys often wanted to grow up to be pro athletes and boxers and all that. And now so much has changed. And I'm interviewing a female professional fighter. But what was life like for you as a kid?
It's been a very interesting life growing up. I was a fighter since I was born. I was abandoned by my birth family in St. Petersburg, Russia. I'm Russian. I grew up in Russian orphanages to the age of 5. I was adopted by Americans, and I was very happy to leave Russia. It wasn't easy living there, and growing up in an orphanage, to say the least. I was very, very hyper, so I've always loved sports. And that was the best way that my adopted family channeled my energy, was through sports. So I knew at a young age I was very athletic and very competitive, and that I liked to win. So I knew that from the beginning, and I was always competing for things, even when there wasn't really a competition going on. It just kind of let me know where I stood. As you know, you had to figure out what the standard was. I don't know.
I gotcha. So, so now the years have passed, and let's talk turkey. I see you at the supermarket. You go into the parking lot. I go and I see your pocketbook, and I want that pocketbook. Am I getting that pocketbook?
Oh gosh, no.
No?
No.
Am I leaving with a black eye? Am I leaving in an ambulance?
I will. I mean, your teeth are going to go down your throat. I know that.
That's what I want. That's the competition I want to hear.
Yeah. So you'll be swallowing your own teeth and, be cutting it up. I might give you $1 to get some stitches or something. I don't know.
That's thoughtful. So,
yeah. So I try to be thoughtful like that.
Yes. But this confidence doesn't come from nothing. This confidence comes from training and knowing the respect of your body and physical fitness and self-defense and being offensive physically in the ring. But the motivation it takes to work out, it's hard enough, but the motivation to train and work out is just taking it to another level. How are you able to continue that kind of commitment?
I don't know what it is. There's something about the training that makes you it's exhausting. And I've always been searching for things to absolutely exhaust me and to get me tired. And so this is the sport that really did that for me. And it requires so much. I mean, I started with traditional karate first. So I was doing school sports and then karate recreationally, and I saw adults and kids that were a little bit smaller or bigger, different all shapes and sizes. And I would look at them and I'd be like, why? Well, how do they have a black belt? If they can get a black belt, so can I. That was just my thought process. That, even at a young age, I'm like, well, if they can do it, I definitely can. I was just, always very ambitious in that sense. And though, my mom probably got me into karate as to channel my energy, but also as a female, I should learn how to protect myself. Right. And so I guess she thought, let's sign you up for the karate down the road. I really never had a problem with an altercation. No one really has aggressively approached me or anything, but I think that's big. That has a lot to do with how you carry yourself and how you look at your surroundings and being aware of what's around, not just looking down at the ground, but making eye contact. And just, I've never had a problem. I've kind of wondered what would happen. I've been, I have taken initiative for my own safety. Like I will look down a road, like, no, that just doesn't feel right. I'll probably just go another route. So I trust my intuition. I've always been very good at trusting my intuition. And when something isn't right, there's probably a reason for it. So I just kind of, change my path a little bit. So there are those feelings that, oh man, something doesn't feel right. And so I try not to doubt myself in those moments. But again, I never really had a real, of course, there's been, parties and stuff. There's always been a little altercation, not always, very few. I can count maybe 2 or 3 times I had to do something. But I think that's pretty good as far as being 33 years old, with all the travel I've done and all the places I've been. I've been in very vulnerable positions where no one knows me. I don't know anyone, different languages, different cultural rules. And I've gotten by without someone trying to look at me and say, hey, I need to attack that person or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I want to piggyback on what you said. You mentioned different cultural situations. Talk a little bit about, I want to circle back to your childhood and how you were in Russia, and then you came to your adopted family here in the United States. What was that like as a child? That's a big difference. That's not going from one city to another. That's going from one country to another.
So we're talking about me being from a young kid. I knew I was not in a great spot. At 5 years old, actually, I guess anywhere around 3 to 5 years old, I was trying to get adopted by strangers. I knew I had to leave there. I knew it at that young age, and within that time frame, within that age, I was also working at the orphanage. I was cleaning. I was taking care of other kids. I was taking care of myself. From 3 to 5 years old, I kind of grew up right, really fast right then and there. And I knew I could really only depend on myself. So I'm sorry, I just forgot the question from there.
Right, like the transition from a child in Russia to a child in the United States.
So I knew I had to get out of there at a very young age. And finally I get the news I'm going to America. And we kind of joke about to this day, why the orphanage was trying to keep me. There's a few conspiracy theories going on. Either they knew I was strong, they knew I was a hard worker, and they wanted to keep me at the orphanage to be a worker, or they were prepping me for the Olympics. We do not know, but I was really strong. And I worked hard. I was a good cleaner. So the American family that adopted me had to work really hard. They had to be like, no, my name was Svetlana. They're like, no, we want Svetlana, because they didn't want to go through a book selecting. They just wanted to, help a child. In the orphanage, pretty much, or the agency was telling my family that Svetlana's a little old. There are younger ones, better ones to be adopted, right? Yeah. So we don't know why they were trying to keep me, but as soon as I heard I was getting adopted, pretty much I was like, hey guys, I'm American now. Russian was my first language. And I was able to communicate a little bit with my adoptive father, because he was Hungarian, but he passed away 1 year after I was in America. But backpedaling a little bit, on the plane, I was learning as much English as possible so that I can impress my new mom, my new dad. I finally had a mom, I had a dad. I learned mama, papa, I love you. I just wanted to learn as much English because we had never met until the adoption went through. And so finally I was on the plane with another orphan that was getting adopted. It was a little baby orphan. And these are stories, just so you know. I don't really quite remember this part. So there's memories and there's stories. So I'm putting a little bit both together. And then I was on the plane learning as much English as possible just to impress my new family, and that made me feel good already. And then they had sent over clothes, and they had not only clothed me, they had clothed all of the children in the orphanage. To take care of them because it was very, very cold. Kind of like a bribery tactic, I think, too. But it worked.
And how old are you at this time?
It was 5 years old whenever I was passing out clothes that my adopted family had sent over while it took a long time. So while the adoption process was happening, they sent over clothes for not just me, but for the other orphans. And I got to pass out things. I have dreams about this and sort of a memory about this, but there was a kid that was a lot bigger than me. He was a bully in the orphanage. And when I got to pass out jackets, this is how mean I was, but I gave him a winter coat that was a little too small for him. And he was the last one I gave a good coat to or something, but I had to do it, I think. And so it was too small. So that kind of made me feel good. I know I was passing out there or something. I remember that. And then as soon as I came I came to America and I met my mom, my pop. I was actually a little surprised at first because I had pictures of my family. I got to like study, like, hey, this is who your family is going to be. You're gonna have a brother, you're gonna have a sister. This is your mom. This is your dad. This is the ages, the family that I flew over with from St. Petersburg to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And so I was still kind of surprised in how they looked even in person. It was just that I remember. I was like, whoa, like that's mom. And I was like, I was just kind of still shocked, even though I had seen pictures. And immediately I wanted to show her the things that I had carried so hard with me. Like there was a wallet and a jacket that she had all sent over, but I wanted to show her, look, I still have it. I will not let it go. They had a hard time, even whenever I was sleeping at a hotel at night on my journey over to America. They wanted me to take off my American coat, and I would not do it. I was so afraid to lose it. I was so attached to it. So here I am in America now, and I see this life I have now. It's a beautiful house. It used to be a full house with their older children, but it was empty. It was just my mom and of course my adoptive, obviously my dad, and they had this big house. So I had like several rooms. I had like a reading room, I had a playroom, I had my own bedroom. And so needless to say, it was real easy to adjust to the American life. Like I had no problem, and
That's
all
great.
I really wanted to do.
Tremendous step up from what you were experiencing in the orphanage. Yes. And there's definite obstacles there, but now you're in the MMA, and I know that you had some obstacles, both physical in the MMA as well as family obligations that kind of took your time and focus away from the sport. What was that like?
Well, that's a big jump from the beginning to kind of, we're talking about like in my 20s. I guess around 18 years old, I went professional. It was amazing. Really, I just took every door that opened, and I didn't really know I was going to be a fighter. I just knew I was an athlete. That's all I know. I'm just an athlete at heart. And I just took every opportunity open. And this one with martial arts, I got really dedicated to martial arts. And finally, that's when I kind of learned, man, I really enjoy when people are watching me. I enjoy giving a performance. I enjoy entertaining the crowd. I enjoy people clapping. And that's why I, really am having kind of a hard time with now, because I had mom. She didn't have to, my dad, her husband was a doctor. So when he had passed away, she really dedicated her life into taking care of me and to being a stay-at-home mom. And so she, with that said, she was at all of my games, always sitting and just watching. She was never coaching. She was just always sitting and watching, always had a smile on her face. And I loved, when I'd get a point or a goal, just looking over her, I could see how proud she was. And that was something I realized how much I live for to this day, because now, I'd call home and, before she had passed away, I had called home, and just to hear how proud and so excited and how, happy she was. I missed that a lot. So I didn't realize how much, I was really living for that through sports, really, just, because I know she enjoyed watching me no matter what I did. With the fighting stuff, I kind of had to water it down at the beginning, because she didn't really understand why I was doing all these things I was doing. She was just a supporter, right? So she just kind of took my word for everything. I was like, hey, I have to be at practice. I have to be at martial arts from this time. She's like, that's a long time, but I was doing back-to-back classes. And then the front desk personnel was like, Justine, you have to like pay for these classes. I didn't know. I was a kid. So I told mom, you got to sign me up for the unlimited classes. And she's like, oh, okay. And so I could just stay longer. And usually I would lie to her, just like, oh yeah, just so I could stay a little bit longer for extra practices. So she was very supportive. And then when it came to the point of really fighting, I had to pretty much tell her I was doing like kickboxing, like karate exhibitions. And, she already trusted the instructors I was with, and she trusted the travel that I was doing. So it really built that was already established. So the phone call when I was like, hey mom, kind of want to go to Thailand. There's this kickboxing stuff going on. There's a very famous coach that wants to work with me. He wants to bring me to his gym. And so I water it down so much that, a mother would say yes. At the end of the conversation, she was just like, Justine, I just don't understand why they're doing this kickboxing stuff in Disneyland. It's like, no, I don't want to go to Disneyland. I want to go to Thailand. It's Thailand that I want to go to, Mom. She's like, what are you talking about? And I had tears in my eyes because she was just like, are you crazy? Like, why do you want to do this? You can do anything you want. And I was just like, Mom, it's just, you have to trust me. And at the end of the conversation, she was just nervous. We were talking about how we're going to book my ticket and how I was going to get out there and who was going to be there with me. And so that support was really, really strong to me. And I miss it so, so much. It was really hard when she was getting sick. The last 3 years, she was on almost 4 years now, she was on a downhill spiral. And so I did everything I could, from moving back to North Carolina, from going worldwide to Los Angeles to Thailand many times, and going back to North Carolina. And every time I'd go back, she was a little sicker and not doing all the doctor's appointments that she should have been doing. So instead of really catching up, like a mother and daughter time, we were just catching up with all of her things on her chart, pretty much her medical chart. And that was really disheartening. That was exhausting. That was disheartening. And having to tell your parent how to take care of themselves was really difficult for me, because she really ignored it. And I realized she really dedicated her life to making sure I grew up to be everything I wanted to be. And I followed my dreams. And she was, you don't make a whole lot of money fighting. Right. At all. But I mean, it's something that made me happy and I was passionate about. So she did a lot to support me through it. And now I have this lifestyle that I can, live the life that I want. And it's a beautiful one because of her. But man, it was exhausting to see her really sick. I don't think anything really is more heartbreaking than to watch your parent just suffer and not be able to do anything but except be at their side. She'd been through me through 4 knee surgeries, and she did anything and everything. And I progressed. I got better. Right. And I was like, I held on to those memories, and, I would see Mom sick. I was like, oh, I can get her better. Of course I can. And it was just, you can't help a liver get better. You can't help, her organs were just shutting down. And that was really hard to understand, because when you have a bad liver, there's, what do you call it? Ammonia levels go up, and that causes a state of confusion. And so sometimes she didn't know my name, or she would be very forgetful, or it just causes a crazy state of confusion until those levels are regulated again. So that was really, really huge to me.
I would think that besides being an amazing daughter, I think that a lot of the practice and training that you did might have helped you deal with this a little more aggressively or supportively even than most people. So when we talk about that in the sport and life, let's just go back a moment how you used to say, I went to practice, and then practice flips and becomes training. So what is a typical training day for you like? I'm sure viewers want to know, well, do you just get in the ring and box? Do you just do weights? Do you run? Is it cardio? What is a typical training day like for you?
Now that I'm a mixed martial artist, I do so many things. So the days change day to day. I have, of course, my runs, my own workouts in the morning. I'll run anywhere from right now 3 to 6 miles a day, 3 in the morning, 3 at night. And those are done not just in the same kind of pace. I'll do those in sprints. I'll do those in increments of 200s, 300s, 400-meter runs. Mm-hmm. So I like to break the pace, break the pace on those. So I'll just do increments of different sort of sprints and runs to make sure I just maintain good form. Of course, nutrition is, I always look up to, professionals when it comes to nutrition, and make sure I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing, because I did experience being malnourished before competition, and my body's still recovering from that. And then it will alternate anywhere from wrestling, jiu-jitsu, striking, strength and conditioning, to sparring days. So, you have all those categories to work in throughout the week. And it all depends on actually your opponent too. Your opponent specializes in this and that. So it's still kind of like it feels like a science project because you don't want to do too much, and we're all doing too much. It's so true, and I'm really trying to work on right now. Less is more. My body feels better. I'm responding more because I was the kind of person that was like, well, I can do it all in one day. I can do my strength and conditioning. I can wrestle. I can do jiu-jitsu, and I was doing that. I was doing so much.
Well, there's such a thing as overtraining.
Oh yeah, there is. I didn't believe it at first, but yep, you're right. It definitely is. So at 33, I have to be smarter about how I train. I don't really bounce back as fast as I did when I was in my 20s. I'm aware of that. But I feel like I'm smarter and I know how to approach competition a little bit wiser versus just doing it all as much as I can. I do that and I behave like that because I'm capable, but that doesn't mean you're, capable like in my mind, right? But my body, obviously experiencing 4 knee surgeries, but my body and my mind were not in sync.
Right.
Thankfully I was able to bounce back just because I think that's a mindset. Like, okay, I just got to fix this. I'll get it back to strong. I'll get it back super strong, and I'm going to approach training. And I was thankfully with the UFC, the Performance Institute, they educated me a lot on nutrition and proper training and learning how to kind of log training hours so that I'm not overtraining. I'm not exhausting myself, because if you do deplete yourself, silly injuries do happen. Versus if you were just doing things the right way, and if you're just doing things the right way, you can take preventative measures into like having to deal with small minor injuries that set you back. So thanks to the UFC Performance Institute, both in Las Vegas, I spent time there, and the one in Shanghai, China, I spent time there. And it was a very educational experience because they taught me about nutrition. They taught me about how to properly train. In my cross training, I love to run, bike, and swim. I used to be an ocean lifeguard, so I love swimming. Along with all those other things, I also like to incorporate those. That's what I kind of like to do for fun, actually, is run, bike, and swim, and also hike with my dog, Merlin. So my days fly by. Like, I really don't rest well. Resting is another thing I'm kind of still learning how to do. But there's so much to do, even after this fighting stuff, there's more things I want to tackle. I just feel like I can do it. Just after watching even like the Olympics, I'm like, I watched, these Olympians. And I'm like, oh, I could do that. I think I'm going to do that.
That's great. And I love hearing that. 33 to me, of course, isn't old, but in the sport, it's not considered young. But the fact that you're still learning and you're still improving is so important for our viewers to see and understand that the training never stops. The mindset never stops, always improving. So in that vein, what advice would you give to young girls who want to enter the world of professional sports?
Great question. Let's see. There's so many things you can tackle right here. So many things. That want to go into sports or that want to go into fighting?
I would say any professional sports, because I would argue that the commitment is very, very similar.
Mm-hmm. I would say it's so important to have a plan first, to have a plan on how you want to train and how you want to compete, and making sure you're in the right group, making sure that you're in the right group of people, because sometimes there's people that, hold on, how am I going to word this? I'm just trying to, because what I was trying to do, yeah, because I'm trying to do is reflect, like, man, I wouldn't want this to happen to anyone else. But I'm still kind of going through the experience of it. But you really want to make sure you surround yourself with the right supportive group. And just because you're like, oh yeah, they want to help you win, doesn't mean they want to help in the process of it.
Right.
Because everyone's busy and everyone has things to do. So you really have to have a plan. You have to make sure that you communicate with your team on what you actually want to do, not just the end goal, but day to day. And I think communication is a huge thing, because if you don't communicate things, and things can be a lot harder on yourself. So making sure you're surrounded by a good team, having the plan, and making sure that sleep is very important. Sleep and recovery are very, very important, and listening to your body. So what I would tell females today is that are wanting to get into professional sports is take care of your body, and be smart about it now. Take it from me. I've had 4 extensive knee surgeries. My ACL, MCL, PCL has been completely replaced. I did everything and everything I could possibly. So make sure you educate yourself, you research on the best training and teaching your body how to be more efficient. And surrounding yourself with a good group of people and communicating on a daily basis on what you're trying to accomplish.
Outstanding advice. And what is life in the ring taught you outside of the ring?
Life in the ring, everything's going to be okay afterwards, really.
So like what lessons, in the ring and dedication carry over into like real life, as we say? Not that the ring isn't real life for you, but outside the ring also, your mindset doesn't shift and turn off because the fight's over. So a lot of the values and commitments and philosophy and mindset that you have, certainly, I'm sure carries over to things outside the ring as well.
Absolutely. There's just so much. I'm just trying to hone it down to just the few important ones. You got to keep, like, when you think like, everything is over and you're done, like, you'll be surprised if you just find that little bit of energy that you can overcome so much. You just got to find a little bit of energy within. Sometimes you got to take a breath. You just got to take a deep breath and just kind of like push everything out, anything that's kind of distracting you, and focus on what's at hand right in front of you. And you can really carry that on into not just competition, but into life too. Like if you're trying to accomplish something and you feel like, man, there's nothing more I can do, you just got to take a deep breath. You got to just clear your head and just give it one more, give it one more go, right? Give it one more shot, because, the part of you from the beginning believed you could do it. So you got to kind of find, kind of refine that, rekindle that fire one way or another. But before you started something, you believed you could do it. You believe you could be successful. So take a deep breath and kind of revisit that memory and that belief in yourself. And, sometimes it takes someone to see your coach to say, hey, you can do this. You can do this. You wouldn't be here if you didn't think you could do, right? So kind of taking that and relating it to everyday life. I see myself doing that on a daily basis, whether it's sitting in front of my computer and doing the emails. All right, you got here, you figured you could do this. Let's get through all of them. But you can really relate that to every day and to like professional sports.
That's amazing transparency. These are not easy questions to answer. They're very personalized. And, Justine, Kish, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing not just your passion for sports, but your insight into life lessons that you've learned and being, a caretaker for your mom the last few years. And just thank you so much for that. And to our viewers, this is Mark Hoberman thanking you for watching Light of the Educational Flame. Catch us Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on E360 TV on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV, and 24/7 on our YouTube channel. Have a great day, Justine. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate you having me.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for watching Lighting the Educational Flame. To contact Mark Hoberman, email him at info@gradesuccess.com or visit him on social media through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thank you for watching Lighting the Educational Flame.